Hey residents of Meepletown, today we're going to be looking at a deck building game, Mutants the Card Game by Lucky Duck Games. So I say let's just get this thing to the table and let's look at Mutants by Lucky Duck Games. Alright, so we have Mutants set up and we are ready to play. Now this is a victory point game, which we will keep track of our victory points here on this track over here. It's also a 5-round game, which we're going to keep track of the rounds right here. In this game, this player right here, I'm going to play as the yellow player. I'm going to play this as the red player. And the player who's last in turn order actually starts highest on the power track, which we have right here. And then the next player, one spot behind them, so forth and so on. And I'll kind of talk a little bit more as we progress about this power track, but this is actually really important for gaining victory points over the course of the game. Now, we are going to all start off with the same exact set of 6 cards. These are our basic starting cards that we're going to have. So every player will have these. However, every player is going to have a different gene pool deck. Now, I'm actually going to be playing with pre-configured decks, which is nice for people who haven't played this game before. You just go grab one of the decks, shuffle it, and we're going to have those into our gene pool. Now, much better in my opinion is the drafting. If you don't want to use a pre-configured deck, so after the first game or two, you may want to draft the cards, which I think is much more fun. You actually will be drafting your gene pool cards, which is again pretty sweet. Now, what we're going to do on our turns is it's really printed off very nicely here on these player mats. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look to see if anyone is crushing their competition, and what that means is if any player is in this power spot, the top power spot, and any other player is in one of these 3 spots right here, they're going to be considered crushing their competition. If that's the case, they're going to get the small victory point number down here. So if this was the start of a round, not later on, but if this is the very beginning of the red player's turn, they're crushing the yellow player, they would get 2 victory points for doing that. So that's the first thing we're going to look for, and obviously that is not that's not happening. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to move a mutant. If we have a mutant that's in our active place, they're going to have to move to the left or to the right. Now, we don't have any yet, so we won't be doing that part yet. We will do that next turn. Then what we're going to do is we're going to either deploy a card from our hand, and we're going to do the actions that it has on the card, or we're going to breed cards, which there are these little gene markers, these different types of card markers on each of these. And if I want to breed one of these monsters and grab one of these monsters, basically, if I want to get a monster from the gene pool, I need to give up those symbols. You have to always give up 2 cards and give up those symbols in order to get that monster. So if I wanted this guy right here, I would give up this symbol and this symbol. These would go into my discard pile, and this would actually go into my active mutant slot. Now, I'm not going to be drawing any cards like over the course of a round. The round is actually played where all the players are going to play till all 6 of their cards are gone from their hand and they can't anymore. Then we'll start a new round by drawing 6 new cards up. So what I'm going to do on my first turn here with the yellow player is I would like to have this Leech Lord, because the Leech Lord says each time you freeze a mutant, I'll talk about that here in a second, you're going to gain 2 on the power track here. And that is an infinity. This means as long as they're in this part right here in the middle, active mutant to the left or to the right, I'm going to have that ability going on. Then when they leave, which is kind of cool, and you'll see this here in a second, when they leave the arena, most of these cards are going to have leaving abilities. Sorry, they're going to have deploying abilities that happen whenever they come into the arena, and then leave abilities, which is really neat. And so his leave ability is going to be he gains 1 on the power track. So now the Leech Lord has 2 of these green symbols, and I don't have 2 of these green symbols. Now, this is the only time it's okay to play different cards. Again, you always have to have 2 that you're getting rid of, but you only have to have 1 of the symbols. So if it's one that has 2 of the same symbol, I can actually get that card by having this 1 card here. I'm going to get rid of the zombie. I'm going to also get rid of my alien. I think, yeah. I'm going to put them into my discard pile down here. Now, that means the Leech Lord is going to immediately become active. Now, there are no deploy abilities. It's just, again, it doesn't, because a lot of these will give you, like this would give you to move up on that power track twice if I put that in at that point. But this one just says, again, as long as I have this in my arena, I'm going to get 2 every time I freeze a mutant. And you'll see why I'll do that here in a second. Now, I'm going to flip this over as well. And that kind of stinks. Maybe not. I've got 2 Devours. There are 2 of each type here in these pre-configured decks. So there's only 2 Devourers up here, and both of them showed up. So that's the end of my turn. I've got put the Leech Lord there, and that's going to be it. Now this player is going to have her turn, and now she obviously she's not crushing the competition. She doesn't have any mutants here, so she's going to do the same thing where she's either going to breed, or again, she could just deploy a card straight from her hand. It only cost 1, so if she wanted to, she could play that warrior and go 2 more up on this track here. But she really wants this card, get this Rhinotaur here, because this says each time you breed or gain a mutant. So if I do any more breeding, I'm going to get 2 on this track, or she's going to get 2 on this track, which that's really powerful. So she's going to do the same thing. She's going to get rid of her beast, but I think she's going to get rid of her demon as well. That is her only. Let's see. That's her only shield. She sees that I could dominate her, which I'll kind of share that later, so she's not going to do that. She's actually going to get rid of her alien as well. Yeah, she's going to go ahead and get rid of that as well. And when she does so, she's going to play the Rhinotaur, which then again doesn't give an immediate bonus or anything, but as long as it's in the gene pool here, the Rhinotaur is going to give +2 on this track anytime that she breeds or gains a mutant. So we're back to my turn, and again, I'm not crushing the competition, but I do have to move this active mutant to the left or to the right. I'm just going to move the Leech Lord to the left, and then I am going to, let's see here. Okay. Yes, I'm going to play Beast. What the Beast card says, now that I've deployed the Beast, again, I'm just deploying 1 card unless I'm going up here and breeding 2 cards to get something else here. This says, now that he's deployed, this is what the symbol means. You may discard any 2 cards from your hand to gain a mutant from your gene pool to your hand. So now I can discard any 2 cards. I did that because I didn't have any more of these symbols right here to be able to get the Devourer, which is what I want to get the Devourer. So now I can discard any 2 of these cards. Let's see here. I kind of want a shield in my hand because of that. Yeah, I'm going to keep the Demon card. I'm going to discard the Robot and the Warrior. So I'm already down to 1 card, but I do take the Devourer card and put it into my hand. I'm going to choose this one. And so this goes into my hand right now. And all right, the Bio Hedgehog is showing up. So that is the end of that round. Now, I will say before I move to the next phase that I did not mention that you can incubate. So you're either going to be, giving away 2 cards, discarding 2 cards, excuse me, to breed, or simply playing a card like I did Beast. Or you'll be incubating, where I'm going to take one of these cards up here, put it into the incubator. It only costs 1 card to incubate instead of 2. And so I would just discard a card and incubate it. However, that card stays in the incubator until the beginning of the next round. Yeah. So anyway, I am going to, and then at the beginning of the next round, they're gonna show up. Anyway, okay, so I'm good with that. So I'm gonna keep my 2. I've only got 2 cards left here. She's going to have her turn. She's not crushing the competition. She's gonna move her Rhinotaur to the right. And she's looking up here. Let's see here. This mutant leaves, then deploy the top card of your deck. Each mutant knocks down their opponent that's in the same slot. Freeze any card from your discard. Now, I will mention that freezing cards, you know what, I'll wait because you'll see what I'm going to kind of do with freezing your cards over here. So, Okay, so I'm going to grab this card right here, which means I'm going to have to give up. Oh, I can't because I already got rid of that card to get Rhinotaur, so I cannot do that. She wants this card. She should have actually probably put this over here so that she could... No, this is good. This is good. All right, so she's going to take the Warrior and the Robot, those 2 symbols. She's going to get rid of these cards in order to get the Big Boss. And the Big Boss is now going to come into her arena. Now, remember, the Rhinotaur says each time you breed or gain a mutant, which I just bred, she's gonna get 2 on the power track. So she's gonna go up 1. In this game, you may say, well, you can't go up any higher. You can't, but you actually push down the other player here if you can't go up any higher on the track. So now she has a significant lead. And at this point, I will say at the end of the round, whoever is the highest on this track is going to get 4 victory points. If we had more players, the second highest would get 2, but in a 2-player game, it's all or nothing. So if we end this round with red higher than yellow, that's 4 victory points, which is nice, but we do see that as the game progresses, you're going to get a whole lot more. So I may be willing to give up 4 points to maybe build a better deck at this point. We're going to see what happens. All right, so now that I played that card, I've got this guy in the arena, and it says each opponent knocks down their mutant that is in the same slot. So this big boss being deployed here means that it's actually going to knock down my Beast card, which is going to make me flip over Beast, which stinks because whenever Beast was going to leave the arena, Beast was going to give me 2 on this power track, and now Beast is not going to be able to do that. It's going to do nothing when it leaves the arena. So that was a really good move by her to knock down that card. All right, so now it's back to my turn over here. I've got a couple cards here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this over to the right. I want to get this card out of my arena because it's doing me no good at this point. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to discard the demon card here, which I wish I had. If I had this demon card, whenever she did this action, it would have blocked it. It would have caused this card to get flipped over, but this card would not. So that's kind of nice to have those shields, but I didn't have it in play. So I'm going to discard this card to incubate. And so I'm going to incubate, let's see here. Your opponent's dominating you -2. That might not be bad. It might not be bad at all. Move a mutant into your incubator from the top of your deck. Gain a mutant from your gene pool to your incubator. That's not bad either. I'm going to go ahead and take this right here, and this is going to go into my incubator. You can only have 1 card in your incubator at any given point in time. It's going to flip that over. So that was my turn. On my turn, I went ahead and I just I moved that over, and then I decided to incubate. So I don't have any card here in that particular slot. So back over here, she's going to move. Now she could. No, she's going to move this over. Sorry. She's going to move this over here. And then she's got a couple more cards here. She's really beaten me. She could play the zombie and just move me down 2 more slots, but it still wouldn't be crushing the competition. She's not able to, with these, she can't get any more of these cards because of the symbols that are up here. She's going to go ahead and put this demon into play in case I try to attack her. And, so that is going to do, I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's put this into play. And so I'm going to play this mutant into the gene pool right here. And it doesn't do anything immediately because it doesn't have that deploy ability symbol, but it does, again, have that shield, which will block if I try to attack her. And so that's her turn right there. Back over to me. I only have 1 more card, and so I don't move any to the right or to the left. I'm going to deploy this Devourer card, and when the Devourer is deployed, it's going to gain me 2 on this track. So now I've actually gotten a little bit closer, but she is going to win there. Whenever this Devourer card leaves, I'm going to be able to freeze a mutant, and that's going to give me bonuses here. So that's why I got the Leech Lord out, and I've got the Devourer here. And you may ask what freezing a mutant is. At this point, I'll share with you. You're going to take a mutant and from your discard pile or from your hand, there's some different ways it works, and you're going to put that into your cryo freezer. You don't get to use that for the rest of the game, but at the end of the game, you will score victory points based on the number that is in the top right corner for that player. So not only are you getting victory points on this track by dominating your opponent, at the end, we're going to calculate how many are in the cryo freezer. I really like this Devourer because this says I get a victory point for every one of those symbols in my cryo freezer. So I'm going to try to get a bunch of those over here and get a lot of points at the end of the game. All right, so now that it is her turn, she is going to have one of these opponents is going to leave the arena right now. So she likes having this Rhinotaur here because I think she's going to keep this here because we have to move this right or left. because she wants to be able to breed some mutants next round and go ahead and move 2 more up on that track. So what she's going to do is she's actually going to, this is going to fall off, leave the arena because I have to move the demon over. And now its leave ability is, first thing, she gains 1 on this track, which doesn't really help her because she's winning this right now. But she also gets to draw a card from her deck over here and then discard a card. So maybe this will work to her advantage. So this one goes to the discard. She draws a card here. And so now she can either... She can keep this. Both of them are going to give her the same deploy ability, which again isn't going to help her right now. But later on, she could either use this to freeze this zombie. I think she's going to keep the zombie, go ahead and freeze it to get it out of her deck to start scoring some points. So she's going to discard this warrior card. She's going to play this zombie right here. Its deploy ability gives her +2 more, which makes me go down 2 more. And that is going to be the end of the round. So we're going to look at this track. She's obviously, Red's beating me. And so she's going to get 4 victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to draw back up and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to keep this thing going and we're going to play that 5 rounds and then we're going to score at the end of the game. All right, and in-game scoring, once again, is going to be this track plus all of the everyone in our cryo freezers, which could be fixed values, or again, it could be variable values based on if they have this symbol over here, and whoever has the most points wins the game. So I say let's go ahead and let's really quickly talk about art and components. Component-wise, I'll say they're fine. You got these wooden pieces here. I mean, they're decent. The cards they're okay quality. Honestly, they're not the most amazing quality of cards. If I was going to play this game a whole lot, I would consider sleeving these cards. The player mats are fine. So I'm not wowed by the components. They're mediocre. They're okay. They're not bad. They're not terrible. They're not great. They're neither, in my opinion. As far as the art is concerned, I'll have to say this is not my style of art. It kind of has like I remember watching cartoons on Saturday morning whenever I was a kid. It kind of has this Ninja Turtle whatever kind of old school, which a lot of times I like old school retro stuff, but that's the vibe I get. It's not my taste. I actually don't like the art really at all in this game. It's just not my style. I've seen people say they really love it. So you may love this art. It's just not for me. So that's art and components. Let's talk about gameplay. All right, so let's talk about gameplay. Here's some things I enjoy about the game. I like the deploy abilities and the leave abilities when you're leaving the arena and trying to figure out the most optimum time to play those cards to get those abilities. I also like how you've got to play them in the right order because you may have a card in your arena that's giving you a perpetual bonus. And if you're not careful, as you saw in the gameplay, you've got to shift one of the mutants to the right or to the left, and then they're going to leave the arena. If you're not careful, you may have one leaving the arena when it would be super advantageous with the card that you're playing to have that card still in there. So I like that. I also like how you have end of round scoring, and then you have the long-term scoring of the cryo freezer. I think that's fun. Trying to make those decisions like, do I want to win this battle track, win this battle right now so that I can get these points now, or do I want to wait until the future and put some cards in the cryo freezer, maybe build my deck a little bit more so I can have a more powerful deck as the game progresses. So I like the tension between those. I think that's really, really cool. Now, some things that I don't love about the game. If you followed us at all, you followed me at all, you know that theme is not a huge deal for me. I'm more interested in the decisions that you're making, the mechanics of the game. But I will say this, the theme and the art did absolutely nothing for me in this game. It didn't draw me in whatsoever. Now, if you like that you might really, really enjoy this game. I didn't love, again, the whole mutants thing. I didn't love the art and all that kind of stuff. So it just didn't draw me in. But when it comes to like the actual gameplay of the game, some things that I didn't really love. I didn't really love the battle track and that like head-to-head battle that you're doing, or battle you're doing with all the other players, depending on your player count. It's okay, but I just didn't get that excited about trying to crush my competition and do that. I did like how you had scoring, like I said earlier, that took place at the end of each round and later on. I just didn't love that part of the game. Also, this is a pretty light game, fairly light, a medium light game, I would say. On BGG, the weight is around 2. And if you're looking for a lighter deck building game, you might really like this game. Seriously, this is a well-designed game, but for me personally, my personal taste is I generally like games that are more in the 3 and above range. And so for me, this game just kind of falls into the muddled middle of there's a lot of deck building games out there, and for me it's forgettable. There's not really a good spot in my collection for it. I don't feel like. Now I played this with my son, and I was hoping that maybe he would enjoy it, and we'd have this kind of lighter weight deck building game that I could play with him that he would enjoy, and he didn't like it that much either. So unfortunately, I think it's a well-designed game. I think it's a decent game. It's just really not my favorite game. So let's go ahead and let's get to my final thoughts. So for my final thoughts, again, I like some of the scoring and the way that works in the game. I like some of the decisions that you're making over the course of the game, but also the art, the theme, that didn't draw me in at all. I also, it's just a little bit light for my taste. Again, there's a lot of deck building games out there, and as I was playing, I just kept thinking, this isn't a bad game. There's just a lot of other games I would rather play over this game. And so for that reason, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10, meaning, again, it's not a bad game. It's just not one that I would play very often. It's not one that I'm really that excited about. So actually, this one will be one that I don't keep in my collection. But again, if you're looking for a lighter deck building game, if you like the theme, you like the mutant theme, you like the art and all that kind of stuff, this game might be one for you. It's just not really one for me, but it's not bad. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. If you're enjoying our channel, we would invite you to subscribe to our channel. We also have a podcast on Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. Just look up Meepletown, and we are Meepletown Games on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. And finally, if you want to get into our community and have some good discussions we are Board Game Geek. If I could talk, we are Board Game Geek Guild 3407. So I say thanks for coming down to Meepletown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Meepletown Games, and connect with us on the Meepletown Guild, Guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to Meepletown.